discipline whole habit, no? Like we beat him when he was Schalke on Giants, and right now we just beat him like really hardcore.
I wouldn't really call it a rivalry, because I would rather have a rivalry with a better player.
Oh, I love hearing trash talk. I love watching rivalries that are as heated as Upset versus Attila. No matter how many times these players face off, no matter what the tournament or the year, it is always spicy, it is always heated, and it is always high stakes. Both of these players joined the league in 2018, and it was Upset that was hailed to be the next superstar bot laner in the league. Attila wasn't even in discussion, like at all. The fiery Portuguese powerhouse didn't really like that. But how did expectations play out in reality? Well, Upset underperformed in his first split. He failed to deliver, and frankly, I think he choked on stage. Attila, on the other hand, was playing out of his mind. He helped lead Vitality to a 4th place finish in Copenhagen in his rookie split. And while Attila and Vitality were not able to win the match, he was able to go 2-0 against Upset. He was able to make a roadshow appearance. He was able to secure championship points towards Worlds, and all this during his rookie split. All this outperforming against the supposed superstar in Upset. Now, as we move forward to the summer split, Vitality still looked very strong in the regular season. The head-to-head between Attila and Upset goes 2-1, the third game being a tiebreaker, as you can see on the graph. But Upset was able to get his revenge in playoffs. With the help of Amazing, they win the series 3-1 against Vitality. And Upset's squad makes it all the way to finals, makes it all the way to face off against Fnatic. Now, despite appearing in the finals, Upset wasn't able to win the series. He then wasn't able to win regional qualifiers. He then was not able to attend Worlds. And Upset's 2018 was now officially over. Technically, he got a higher placement than Attila, but he didn't really make it to the big international stage. It was Attila that got to do that. Attila got to play Draven against Uzi and beat RNG at Worlds. Attila, the man that wasn't even talked about at the beginning of the year, helped shape and define the international meta. It was Attila that got to stand tall above Upset for his 2018 performance. The 2018 season wraps up, and both Schalke and Vitality look forward to 2019. They have high hopes. At Upset and Attila, they face off several times, and both would be influential members of their squads. And while in spring this year, Upset did get that pentakill against XL, neither he nor Attila has really been in the spotlight for the right reasons. Attila in particular has been struggling to find his 2018 form. And as we look at their head-to-head between the Attila and Upset, you'll notice that in 2019, the standoff for another playoff battle begins. This time, Upset and Attila, the head-to-head score sits at 7-6. Today, that scoreline can change drastically. Every single time these players go head-to-head, sparks fly. These two players clash in the most dramatic of ways. And just before we continue with Ready Check, I want to hear from Attila one last time. Earlier this year, Upset said in an interview that we played at the beginning of this segment that Attila wasn't worthy of being his rival. This is what the Portuguese powerhouse had to say about that.
GG.
Upset, never trash talk me again, you little... That's what you are, Upset, you little...
You wanted to go mic check or?
Yes, please put that on mic check.
There are gonna be a lot of good series. There's a lot of kills, a lot of fights everywhere. The game is just so bloody right now.
Vitality eliminate SK Gaming from playoffs and from the regional qualifiers. Vitality make it to the postseason.
After we won, I just exploded with all the emotions that were in my body, and I just couldn't stop crying. I was criticized so much, and I was so glad that I showed up big time in the most important game of the split so far. I always say that the biggest driving motor is the fear. Maybe I didn't work enough, but it's on me because I create the space to become a better player.
Tether here down towards the bottom side of the cross, all pop, and look at the damage coming out from Attila, 2v2, Mickey and Perks fall, Vitality.
I'm visualizing VODS in Europe ever since it's been announced. It's in finals in Paris. It's driving me nuts on this, and that pushes me forward.
Kimura does a lot of damage. He's dodging, but it doesn't matter. Huge shield, can he get it upset? Goes through, finds the kill, shut down.
What's unique about Europe right now is that even the bottom teams have like players that you have to like respect for their individual talent at least.
Look at the base, look at the base! Oh, just when you think it can't get wild. Papa, you wanted a fiesta, and Schalke are here for a party!
I was in the final last summer. I was close to winning the whole thing, so I'm really not content with just making 2 playoffs.
We made a rise to the top again, and I think we're a contender for pretty much everything.
And Origin re-engage the fight, but they are shuffled to pieces. Rogue find a perfect fight. And from last place in spring, Rogue continue to prove they belong in playoffs.
Towards the end now, I feel like we have finally found ourselves.
Prophet in a 4v1 is still surviving. He goes golden, buys enough time. It's a 4 versus 1. Prophet's not done. Rogue, that was amazing. Prophet, how good am I? How good am I?
We're not scared to make moves and plays. Even if they don't work out, we don't give up, and I think that's our strength.
Everyone is going to give it their all. Everyone wants to make Athens. We're just going to play like we have nothing to lose.
A supreme display of talent there by the Splice Electron.
The skill ceiling of this team is much higher than it was the previous year. We are willing to play even more aggressive than we did last year, and that's the big improvement.
Xerxes still there, the barrel comes out, and Xerxes gets it! Once again, he steps up! He has had an impeccable split. Look at the damage coming out from them. The Elder Dragon, North Scammon on the back line. Xerxes steals it, and Splice take the game.
My goal for this split is to make it worse.
Just making playoffs doesn't really make me satisfied.
We are definitely not gonna take this for granted, and we are still in it.
Winning is my expectation. I got second place at Worlds last year, and that wasn't enough for me, so I decided to join G2 because I wanted to take it one step further. The expectations can never cloud my judgment. Now that it's playoffs and every game matters so much more, is when we're gonna really step it up. This is where champions are created.
We know that we can't get complacent because then it's very easy to lose.
I really just want to win Worlds honestly at this point, so that I can say in a couple of years that I started playing the game because I wanted to be the best at it. I played the game for 8 years, I became the best at it, and then I left a strong and solid legacy behind. That's honestly why I started playing the game. It wasn't because of money, it wasn't because of fame, it was just I wanted to be the best at League of Legends, and I feel like I haven't really reached that yet.
Germany and the LEC summer playoffs. There's only one spot in round 2 left, and tonight Schalke and Vitality will clash to decide who will face Rogue next week. Schalke Nilfear is ready. They're just entering the studio, or they were a couple of moments ago. Vitality is rocking some new jerseys, I spy with my little eye, so hopefully that will give them some extra energy going into this best of 5, because whoever loses will end their 2019 season here. No more playoffs, no more chance to make it to the regional qualifier for Schalke or Vitality if they lose. Hello, everyone. I'm Shox, joined by Ender and by Moose. Yesterday, we already saw what pressure can do to teams, and it won't be any different for Schalke and Vitality.
Oh, not at all. I mean, yesterday we had a huge upset. Today we've got a grudge match. Next week we've got Fnatic G2. So I'm so excited for the rest of playoffs.
Me too. Moose, yesterday we asked you to analyze, and I think you did not expect what you saw with your own eyes. Rogue versus Splyce, and Rogue kicked Splyce out of the playoffs 3-0 nonetheless, qualifying for round 2 for Rogue. What happened?
Honestly, Rogue just showed up. Both the solo lanes played phenomenally. Larson was absolutely amazing this whole series. Rogue just looked extremely good as a team the whole way through. Very, very little flaws.
Indeed, and a team of rookies paired with some more experienced players like the Vander. We thought, you know, they'll have trouble with confidence. Maybe they won't show up as they would in the regular season, but none of that, Ender.
No, everything changed for this team. In the regular season, this was a reactionary team. They would counter what teams did, but it was very rare that they were playing on the offensive. Yesterday, they were always the ones punching first, and they looked so good outplaying Splyce from the whole map.
Player of the series was Larson. Moose, you had some very choice words for him, saying, well, for me, it was just the MVP straight up of Rogue yesterday.
Yeah, easily. So, like, coming into the series, everyone was talking about Humanoid being the second or third best mid in Europe. Larson showed up, made complete fun of him, not only in his lane, but he controlled the whole map. He wasn't just a better player in his lane, in his role. He was the smartest player that played on the Rift yesterday.
Yeah, brought a diversity of picks. He moved around the map. He dominated his lane opponent. And I think then we should also just say goodbye to Splyce, because they are now out of the playoffs, and it will also be difficult for them possibly to get to the regional qualifier. So what is the final verdict on their summer split?
I mean, it was a great split regular season. Huge disappointment here. This team was supposed to be ascending to the top 3 in Europe. They were supposed to be in Athens. They were supposed to be pushing for a finals appearance. They really dropped the ball yesterday. Rogue absolutely outplayed them. And now they only have one more chance if they can get in the regional qualifier to prove themselves again.
Moose, as a coach yourself, yesterday Duke, the coach for Splyce, tweeted shortly after the game how he felt that this had been coming for a long time, and he took a lot upon himself. In a second tweet, other members of the staff did the same thing. It seemed pretty defeatist to me for someone who can still save the entire season by playing in the regional qualifier. What would you say about that, and what do you think Splyce can do in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, personally, from what I loved about Splyce this split, I think the reason everyone started hyping them up is because they were playing well, but then in interviews and social media, they were showing confidence. They were talking about how much better their early game is. And then after this loss, it just seems like they've sort of given up. They're accepting their fate, and they're like, hopefully we'll be able to come out of this. I want to see that confidence from Splyce again. We were talking about them being in the upper echelon. I want to see them get there.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see if they can do it if they get to the regional qualifier. Rogue will play versus the winner of Schalke 04 versus Vitality next week, and Fnatic and G2 will face off in 1 week, 7 days, 168 hours, 10,080 minutes from now. I think, yep, that's correct. The 31st of August, that is Fnatic versus G2, round 1, most possibly. If we look at Rogue and the upset they did and the level they showed, I know a lot of us were very impressed at how well they played. So what are our expectations for round 2 and possibly Athens?
Honestly, I'm like the biggest Rogue fan now. I've been doubting them week on week on week, and there's always been questions in my mind, even when they do prove me wrong and they do win. But yesterday, they played super clean individually and from a macro level, completely leveled up over spring. So I think their chances look really good.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like the initial thing with Rogue was, can their rookie step up? Can they enable themselves? Can they be proactive? But now the question is, they had really good, clean League of Legends yesterday. Is that consistent? Can they keep that up? If they can, they easily contest Schalke and Vitality over the face.
Fantastic. Will be a super exciting round 2. But on top of the battle, the teams are fighting for a spot at the 2019 World Championship. It will take place right here in Europe, and here is how they qualify.
Hello, LEC fans. We made a few changes to how LEC teams qualify to the World Championship. It's pretty straightforward. Let's have a look. The winner of the summer split qualifies as the first European seed. This remains unchanged. This year, the 4 teams with the most championship points, excluding the summer split winner, fight for the final world seeds over multiple best of 5s. Now, the 2 teams with the least amount of championship points will face off in match 1, with the winner competing against the team with the second highest amount of championship points in match 2. The winner of match 2 will qualify for Worlds and the final round of the regional qualifier. The final round will determine the second and third European seeds, with the winner qualifying as the second seed and the loser qualifying as the third seed, starting their tournament run in the play-in stage. We hope you like the changes. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Dracos, for the explanation. And just to clarify, things stay the same in terms of, how you get to Worlds. If you win the summer split, you go to Worlds as the first seed. If you have the most championship points, you're also locked in Worlds. But now you can still be third or second seed, depending on if you win that last match in the gauntlet. And the third team still has to go through the gauntlet to make it to Worlds.
Yeah, basically what this means is that the second best team right now is going to be our second seed, and the third best team is going to be our third seed. It won't be any more where it's like the team that wins gauntlet that could be better than the team that qualifies on championship points slides into play-in. They might just bypass entirely.
Exactly, because they play each other. The regional qualifier is responsible for the seeding. But as for what is happening in the LCK nowadays, here's Laura with the international check-in.
Thank you, Shucks. With the World Championship getting closer and closer, I want to give an overview of what we should expect from LCK playoffs, because I guess we were all surprised that the best LCK team in the world, KT Rolster, crashed and burned once again. Yes. Now, let's take a real look at the Summer Trophy contenders, because I'm talking about SK Telecom here. The team is coming back from a painful 2018 season and is ready to kill it. This is a summer playoff SKT that should be feared, and after a shaky regular season, they came in playoffs armed and prepared. They faced Africa Freaks in round 1 and brought the house down against Sandbox Gaming in round 2 yesterday. This was a classic SKT playoff buff show. If you want an LEC analogy, the same way Fnatic is known to shine in decisive games, SKT got us used to the same pattern over the years. And from what we saw yesterday, Rock has too, apparently. Faker reminded everyone that he's called the unkillable Demon King for a reason and added 3 new champions to his 2019 pool: Kiana, Kassadin, and Echo. And outside of Khan finally being consistent, Clit proved once again that he's one of the key players in SKT victories. For our 3-time world champions, these victories were a necessary ticket to punch for a trip to Worlds. With this behind them, SKT is now guaranteed to make Worlds if either themselves or Griffin win the summer LCK title. Going forward, SKT will have a bigger challenge as they face off against Damwon Gaming. This is the new cool kids of this 2019 season. Now, this will be an explosive series, and looking at the matchup, Damwon entered playoff after winning twice against SKT in regular season. But they should be careful about the playoff rookie curse because they never played a best-of-5 series yet. On the other side, SKT will come in prepared as they play 2 series on the playoff patch, and every player showed that they had some tricks up their sleeve, especially when it comes to drafting in 1916. Now, I asked our LCK representative Papa Smithy about the upcoming matchup, and he said it's going to revolve around Faker and Cleed against talented Showmaker and Nuguri. Will this be enough? I think it will, because in this moment, experience matters, and SKT showed that they want to make up for missing Worlds last year. If SKT win this, they would lock in for Worlds and join Griffin in a rematch of the spring final. This series will take place tomorrow at 10 a.m. CEST, and I tell you, you don't want to miss it. Now back to you, Shucks.
Thank you very much, Laura. We don't want to miss it indeed. And when we think of the possible scenarios, for me, if you think about SKT being at Worlds, Griffin, Damwon, that sounds like a pretty cool LCK team. Teams going
that sounds awesome, right? And
yeah.
you know, everyone's been hyped. We want to see Griffin on the international stage for the first time. SKT's return. I mean, won't be too much of a difficult competition for our guys like G2, but it's nice to see.
I don't know.
It's nice to see some minor regions getting representation.
And that's how people love to saying things like this. Anyway, time for the part of the show I love the most, and that puts the G in Gamer as we bring our favorite characters to life in Champion Charades. So basically, it's charades, and production will give one of us a champ to portray, and then the other 2 people have to guess which one. I guess I'm starting.
I guess it's a good one.
Honestly, that is so hard. Okay.
Oh, no.
Stop talking and do it. Sivir.
Zach.
Oh wait, jump up.
Zach.
Oh,
Zach?
Oh, you didn't say it.
Okay, Zach.
Yeah, Zach.
I'm taking that.
No, I mean, I was right there with you. I think they just couldn't hear me over your voice.
I was doing
You're like the gooey guy. Why didn't you do his dance? His dance is so epic.
Did I do the old ult? Because I was like doing slingshot.
Wait, which old ult?
You dove in somewhere.
Yeah, he went in. Okay. Well, I guess you got it.
Well,
I didn't know the dance, so my bad.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Kale?
Fiddlesticks?
Rakan? You going in? Oh, someone does this, no? Is it
bird?
Lucian? No.
No.
Something else. Do something else of the kit. Wukong?
Yes!
I
feel like someone cheated for you.
You can't prove it.
That was such a good Wukong. I'm so dizzy right now.
No. You know what it is? Because in your head, you're like, wow, okay, this is so Zach, or this is so Wukong. But then we're looking at you and we're like, what?
Look at that replay. That's so epic. I'm like, get knocked up, please.
I feel like we should be allowed to use like noise. You'd be like, whoa, ha,
I'm so dizzy.
Same. All right.
All right.
Moose? Gragas!
Wow.
How good am I?
That was so insane. What?
Why did I get Zach? Zach, who's strolling?
What a dance.
This is great.
Can we even show that on Twitch?
Who's getting, there's one more. Who's getting it?
I thought it was you.
Oh. God damn it.
Find.
This is so difficult again. Okay.
Naruto. Lucian. Lucian, what?
It's a
Kale.
bird that flies.
Not Kale?
Yes.
Quinn! Not, dude. Well played, well played.
I was supposed to hang over you and then come down. And then, like, she does a backflip and then shoot.
Your arrow was
Yeah.
top notch.
I love the Insta replay. That's Wait, what was that? Was that supposed to be the knockback?
Doesn't she?
The vault.
Why didn't you do the backflip then? What?
I guess my attire wasn't appropriate. Oh dear. That was a lot of fun. I hope the mic is still connected.
Well.
Yes, it is. Cool.
That's champion charades.
That's it. Okay, cool. Well, who won? Who's won? I asked 2 points.
I mean, you really nailed them like really quickly.
Yeah.
The Quinn for sure.
The Quinn, your
Cool.
Gragas was insane.
We're going to catch our breath because we usually don't do that much physical exercise. But yesterday, Woolite, he qualified for round 2 of the playoffs, and Jack Troll had some choice words for him on Euphoria last week.
There have also been tryouts to the best Polish team, but I didn't even make it as a third support. Even though I think I had the best performance in the trials back then, but I was considered toxic in the team environment, which I think was bullshit. By the way, Woolite didn't choose me as a support back then because he was the main character to choose his support to play, and he didn't choose me. So I hope we meet in semifinals of playoffs, and I'm gonna beat his ass off for that time.
Yeah, loving it. There's even more animosity for matchups that are to come between Rogue and Vitality, possibly. Before that to happen, of course, Vitality would have to beat Schalke. And right now, we're going to dive deeper into Schalke versus Vitality. And we also want you guys at home to tell us who you think will win. So you can spam in the chat VIT or S04 if you think Schalke 04 or Vitality are going to win. But now, you could just decide, or you can listen to my analysts and their professional opinion, but need to reiterate once again that whoever loses tonight is done with their 2019 season. So let's start with Vitality, and I would say their year has been up and down, but it's been definitely so in the summer split. Very up and down for them and very inconsistent with sparks of genius. Is that a way to describe it?
It's been a total roller coaster because
Yeah.
this team started off 0-4. Everyone counted them out. This team looked absolutely abysmal. But then they started putting the pieces back together. They started looking much better, fixing each problem that sort of arose until the last 2 weeks of the regular season, where again they slid until they got to that tiebreaker match up against SK that they were able to win.
Moose, what would you think, or how would you describe the general issues that Vitality has been struggling with for most of summer?
Yeah, I think Vitality's playstyle is Jizuke is going to play as far up as he can, and then everyone else has to be ready to go with him, especially Mowgli. And they look really discoordinated when they can't do that together. So the key for Vitality today, have Jizuke and Mowgli work really well together.
Work better together. When we talk about individuals in the team context, I do want to mention Trick for Schalke. As is the story with Schalke, when they change out their junglers in the middle of the season, it works out for them. Last year, they made it to the finals, and there it seems to be a well-and-tried and successful recipe.
Right, and for this team, what really they needed was just clear communication and just a smarter way to play League of Legends, and Trick helps them with that. They're very spoken about how he brings brings that calm voice to the team, where he gives them clear direction within their games, and it looks absolutely evident inside of their games. This team is very consistent and has been on top of the league, in the top 4 for pretty much the whole split.
Would you describe them as a team that makes their in-game moves mainly from the jungle position?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the jungle and support that really control where Schalke makes the plays, and then along with that, they either decide to play on mid or a lot of the times through bot. So it's a mid-bot team that really is controlled by jungle and support.
When we look at the team styles against each other of Schalke and Vitality, Schalke, we've said many times, is trying to play the game in the right way, yet still being aggressive when needed. When Vitality seems to always kind of come in with not that much structure when it comes to how they want to play out the game once they are in the game, and it all looks chaotic from the outside.
Yeah, on Schalke's side, it's very coordinated, a very team fight-driven team. Vitality, it seems like it's driven by individuals. If it's Jizuke jumping forward and making the big play, or Jack Troll in particular, a lot of times in their tiebreaker match looked very, very good. In other times, it's been much more hit or miss.
Definitely so.
And the Jack Troll one's interesting because he's very flippy, and on the other side of it is Ignar, who these last 2-3 weeks has been so consistent and so good at like almost every stage of the game that it's really going to come down to can Vitality be chaotic together?
Yeah, it's about the individual and also about the team playing, and if we want to look at how they can play it out versus each other, you're going to break down how Schalke beat Vitality last time around.
Exactly, Shox, and really what I want to do here is show exactly how Schalke used pressure extremely well and how they can try to exploit Vitality when they do that. So I picked out a replay right here that I think expertly demonstrates that. We're about 16 minutes on the clock right here, and Vitality have just tried a play around the top lane. You'll notice they see Ignar clearing out that ward, but you'll also see that while Ignar is coming around the bend right here, there's multiple recalls that just came off from the Vitality bottom lane. So Ignar and Trick both have made this full rotation up towards the top side of the map. Even though they transferred over vision, Cabochard stuck around, and he's going to get punished big time while the rest of his team resets. So that's the first mistake from Vitality, not realizing where they lack pressure on the map. But then we pause and say, well, what's the response here? Mowgli is on his red buff when Vitality need to actually be using their pressure in mid lane to come make the same response play on the bottom side of the map, attack that bot lane rumble as well as that tower for a good trade. But instead, because Mowgli sticks around on this red buff, they end up delaying their play a lot, giving time for Ignar to reset and path down bottom lane himself. So this whole play super telegraphed by the side of Vitality, and also at the same time, you'll see that once Mowgli gets down here, it's not a top laner that's overextending. It was actually Odoamne who backed away from that tower, respecting the fact that he needed his teammates to show up. Now, Schalke, they don't get a kill off of this play, but what they do get is the flash off of Jack Troll, which will be very important later on. So we pause, we take a look at the map state right now, because Vitality need to reset after this play, while now we have a Schalke team that has pressure on the map. So they're going to send their side laners to push, break into a 1-3-1 right now to create a lot of pressure on side lanes, and then their play is going to be attack this mid lane final outer turret. So they get their pressure, and then they collapse around that lane with 5 players. So we go ahead and check this one out. It's a little delayed off the bat. Trick going to be clearing the Scuttle Crab on the bottom side to help his team push out that lane, but ultimately will cancel his reset and path around to make this dive happen. And what this shows to me is that Schalke have a very clear idea of how to play around pressure. When those 2 side lanes push out, Vitality have to send 2 members to defend it, so it's a 5 versus 3 around this middle lane. Trick gets the flank, and then a flashless Jack Troll is also sniped out with the Rumble Equalizer. Jizuke also pushes up forward, trying to get an extra kill, and ends up falling himself. All in all, this shows us just how good Schalke are at playing around pressure, and also that you can exploit Vitality in these types of scenarios.
Yeah, and also the fact that Schalke knows exactly what to do versus this Vitality, and probably will have that same plan coming into the playoffs. The fans think Vitality is going to win. I believe it was 53% in favor of them. But I do want to just talk about some key members we got to keep our eye on in this. Moose, you talked about it a lot. Jizuke, if the guy plays like he did at Worlds and did for most of last year, that's good. But what else does he need to show here in this best of 5?
Yeah, I want Jizuke to play just as aggressive as he normally does. I want everyone else in Vitality to play at his pace and for his pace. Vitality, Jizuke in scrims against us will have 40 kills in 15 minutes just because of Jizuke. I want the same thing today. I want him to play really calm.
Yeah, I want him to play aggressively, but I need the rest of his team to be backing him up, because Trick loves to babysit mid lane, loves to punish enemy mid laners. Mowgli is going going to need to have Jizuke's back. Otherwise, that's a big red flag.
Absolutely. And finally, in the bottom lane, we talked about Upset and Attila a lot, but Ignar versus Jack Troll is just as interesting. Jack Troll is also that feast or famine player, but he can also pull out very interesting picks to throw off the opponent. But on the other hand, Ignar is such a complete player, it looks like, for Schalke.
Yeah, Ignar has been the main enabler for Schalke for pretty much these last like 4 or 5 weeks now, and he's so good at it, especially with Trick following him up. Jack Troll has a huge job on his hand.
That he does. We are almost there. Who's going to win? I voted for Schalke.
I've got 3-0 Schalke.
3-1 Schalke.
Ooh, that's a new caster curse in the making if I ever heard one. But there's tons on the line tonight as Schalke and Vitality fight to stay alive on the road to Athens and Worlds. Let's hit the riff.
Thank you very much, Shox. I'm Medic. I'm joined by Fosku, and sadly, Vedius is unwell today. Let's just take a moment to pay our respects.
He was so young.
So young, taken from the world at such a young age.
Very talented. Vedi, get well.
Get well soon, my man.
It does mean that we're not the Vedi,
Yes.
but we are much more fashionable. So we're going to be what, medicine?
Medicine. I like medicine. I think medicine is a great duo name for us. We're going to jump into Champion Select in just a moment. Schalke versus Vitality. They said it already on the analyst desk. The loser of this is out of contention for Worlds.
Yeah, and so stakes are very high, not just for playoffs, but looking past playoffs, looking at your 2019 season. Now, that said, I know everyone is very excited about the Rogue upset over Splice yesterday. I'm sure if you ask Rogue, Rogue was like, upset? What upset?
Exactly.
We knew we were going to win. That said, I don't think the same thing can happen. Now, yes, Vitality can win, but it wouldn't be in the same way that Rogue were able to outsmart, outwit, and outplay Splice. I think if Vitality walk away with this series, it's because you get very bloody League of Legends. So just to echo Moose on that